too many elites, or it's still totally in the tank for China. The worst offenders, when you think of all the really bad offenders out there, the worst are perhaps the universities, and their connections with China and thus the CCP run deep. Since 2013, China has given $1 billion to 115 colleges and universities. Harvard was the biggest recipient, pulling in $93.7 million. But that's not all. A huge number of Chinese students, handpicked by the CCP, are admitted at universities, including Harvard, including, by the way, President Xi's daughter, who graduated from Harvard just a few years back. Now, Harvard has even set up an academic center in Shanghai and established a Harvard China Fund, which supports teaching and research on China and also promotes Harvard's presence in China. China has given Harvard, as I said, $93.7 million, 2,270 Chinese students and scholars at Harvard. Harvard now has an academic center in China. All of this that we've just talked about.
You see, these American institutions of higher learning, right? They want you to be a globalist. They want you to go along when foreigners take your jobs, China takes your factories, 60,000, by the way. Factories, 60,000 factories. I don't know, you people could get your head around that. I can't. That number is so astronomical. It's beyond mind-blowing. We've got kids fighting in wars in every shithole in the world to defend our way of life while we wholesale it to our greatest adversary in history. And right now, in the midst of this Chinese Wuhan coronavirus, we're being told to give up our freedom, being told to stay in our houses, not go to national parks that we pay for, not coalesce, not see your families, not go to church. Because the security situation to fight this disease demands that we give up our freedom. But let's look at the other side of this argument. We don't dare see the Chinese threat and repel from it. No. The biggest military buildup in history, China, shouldn't intimidate us. No. In the name of security, we just go along to get along. But a virus, shelter in place. But a nuclear threat and a building military on every level, a communist nation dedicated to one proposition, total world domination. And it's not just about economics, it's about they want to rule you. When I listen to Black and Hispanic Americans not understand this, the Chinese would exterminate you first. Anything that they look at that isn't up to speed, they'll murder. And would we have done this with the Nazis? Would we have done this with... it's amazing. You're going to listen to the president of Harvard in a minute extol the virtues of interchange with China. That globalization supersedes borders. Like borders don't have a reason to exist. That's like saying your body's epidural layer doesn't matter. You just tear your skin off because nature didn't give you a border called skin because your internal organs needed to be vitally protected. This is absurd. And when you don't have a cultural interchange, you can't have a commercial interchange. I've said it forever. How do you integrate the greatest capitalist society with the greatest communist society? It's like blowing energy into a black hole. It's remarkably stupid to me. It's so fundamental. I just see things fundamentally. I'm not a genius, but I think things through. And I remember Sesame Street. One of these things don't go with the other. One of these things, can you guess which one? Capitalism and communism isn't soup and sandwich. It's not love and marriage. The one is anathema to the other. And if a house divided can't exist, any endeavor that's divided by such great chasms of intellect and practical applicative logics are self-evident that they cannot coexist. Not for any real length of time, not to any real good end. One will have to destroy the other. And our amateur, retarded politicians live in the moment. This Professor Lieber at Harvard was getting $50,000 a month, almost as if he was adopted by the Biden family, to go along with the Wuhan lab, nanotechnology, interchanging with China and their military. They gave him a grant of $15 million because the $2 million to $5 million a year at Harvard wasn't enough. I mean, I don't know how to quantify these numbers. I mean, this is like, it's perversion on an industrial level. The average American is bumping along the bottom trying to figure out his next move, how he's going to pay his rent. Will he ever have enough money to retire on, short of eating cat food? And our government is knee-deep in orgies at every turn. They have co-opted all our major universities. They literally, control the apparatchiks, the CIA, the FBI, like marionettes. And we're supposed to kowtow to these creeps. We're supposed to have respect for the biggest police installations in the Western history of the world. The crooked FBI, the perverted CIA, that are preoccupied with listening to people like me and you, while the gangsters of communist China run amok, frolicking through the economic fields of grass with our crooked politicians. You wonder why they hate Donald Trump? He is the ultimate monkey wrench thrown into their works. Sabotage comes from the French sabot, a shoe being thrown into wooden looms. Wooden shoes that were tossed into wooden looms. Very difficult to find. They would screw up the process of weaving. Donald Trump is the greatest saboteur in the history of crooked politics. They hate him because he has stymied them almost without any help. A crooked media paying these shills like Rachel Maddow $25 million. And that other creepy guy that's on MSNBC, that hermaphrodite with the glasses that, I don't remember what his name is, a creepy guy. Young guy making $30,000 a night to propagandize. We are at war. And the war we're at is with ourselves. And it's a hell of a lot more dangerous than the Civil War of 1861, fought over whether or not people should own slaves. This is about all of us becoming slaves. And it doesn't care about the color of your skin. And we are not a recalcitrant agrarian society trying to wrestle with the economics of how to manufacture and process cotton with or without said slaves. This is about you being enslaved, your children and your grandchildren being enslaved, and the greatest nation in the history of the world being marginalized to a banana republic in but a short generation. If you don't understand the gravity of this situation, I've spent my whole life reading history. especially the Greek classics. You read Socrates and Aristotle, you can't imagine that people could have lived 2,500 years ago and understood with such depth of knowledge the intricacies of our time 2.5 millennium later. You know why? Because human beings are pretty predictable. And we never really stray from the plantation of our own limited thought processes. We are relegated as a species. We're pretty damn primitive. Our clothing changes. Our modes of transport have exponentially been enhanced in the last 100 years, but intrinsically we are the same animal. All wars are fought for money, Socrates. It's never changed. 260 years of a nation, we've been at peace 6 years. Avoid foreign entanglements, said Washington, Jefferson, and Adams. We don't stop getting involved. Well, this rant is over. China's going to be the death of us, whether through viruses or a nuclear war, I'm convinced. The real enemy is what Lincoln alluded to. If America's going to fall, it's going to fall from within. And an unenlightened citizenry could never partake in a true republic or democracy. Aristotle.